are the Sikhs, a loving duty to serve the Creator and the creation, one universal God, an ideal human being, characterized by love, selflessness, integrity, responsibility and accountability, empowered to be an agent for good, one who is armed with both the wisdom and virtue of a saint, together with the courage and fearlessness of a soldier, and promoting religious freedom. And so may I relentlessly continue to do all that is good and right until my last breath.
Our next award is Sikhs in Profession. The award is given to an individual whose contributions have made an exceptional difference on a local, global scale in any field such as financial, medical, technology, legal, or government. Please welcome on the stage the sponsor of the award, Mr. Jagmeet Singh from the Sikh Group, and Mr. Fabio Gesufatto, the CEO and founder of Blue Stella Entertainment Group.
Thank you very much, everyone. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. What a lovely evening, what a beautiful affair, and what a great celebration for an incredible community that has contributed so much globally. I have been in this business for 20 plus years, and of course, we all go into business with a mission of being successful, being profitable, creating jobs, and creating an economic impact to the city that we reside in. I am very proud to be part of this event because I am also equally as proud celebrating the Sikh community. They have made incredible strides, not just here in Toronto, but all over the world, where not only are they successful people in various professions, but many take those professions to the levels of leaving legacies for themselves, for their families, and for their community at large. That is what our next award is about. Our award is for the Sikh in Profession.
Sikhs in Profession, sponsored by the Sikh Group. This year's winner is Mr Jagmeet Singh from Canada. Jagmeet Singh is a Canadian lawyer and politician who is the new leader of the New Democratic Party and a member of Provincial Parliament MPP for Bramalea Gore-Moulton in the Legislative Assembly of Ontario since 2011. Jagmeet began his career as a criminal defence lawyer for different law firms. In 2012, the Toronto Star named him as one of Toronto's top 12 personalities to watch in 2012, calling him a trailblazer in Ontario politics. In 2015, he became deputy leader of the Ontario New Democratic Party. Despite entering the leadership race as a dark horse candidate who polled as low as 2% in early opinion polls, Jagmeet emerged as the leading candidate in the contest and was elected leader on October 1st, 2017, with a first-round vote of 53.8% in a field of 4. He became the first person of a visible minority group to lead a Canadian federal political party on a permanent basis. He's also the first turban-wearing Sikh to sit as a provincial legislator in Ontario.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome to the stage Jagmeet Singh.
Thank you very much. It's a great honor to be here. C'est vraiment un très grand honneur d'être ici. Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh, Ani Buju. I want to also acknowledge that we're gathered here today on the traditional lands of the Mississaugas of the New Credit. I think it's incredibly important for us to always acknowledge the traditional lands that we're gathered on, to acknowledge that the community that was the first community in this land, the first people of this land, continue to live without the justice they rightfully deserve. So let's give an applause of solidarity with the Indigenous communities. I also want to give a shout out to and an acknowledgement of this beautiful event to all the organizers, the volunteers, Navdeep Singh, his entire family who put on such a beautiful show. Let's give them a warm round of applause. Thank you. I also would be a little bit remiss. By chance, I happen to have some of the incredible team that made our historic win possible. I have to just say, no victory is possible. Oh, this is louder on this side. No victory, oh, that's really good. That's loud. It's great. No victory is possible in any field without an incredible team, and my victory is no different. It's not my victory, it's because of an incredible team of volunteers, people that were organizers, and an entire community of supporters from coast to coast to coast. You can't do these things alone. There was a time in Canada where South Asians weren't even allowed to set foot on Canadian soil, let alone have the right to vote or have any other rights of citizens. People from the Chinese community were discriminated with an unfair head tax. Japanese Canadians were interned for no other reason than they were Japanese. There was a history, and there still continues, systemic racism in our country. We've come a long way, but there's a significant history of unfairness, of injustice and oppression, and the Indigenous community has suffered the most. To come from a community that at one point was not allowed to even set foot on Canadian soil, and today to be the national leader of a major political party is a pretty phenomenal journey. It's pretty incredible when we think about it. I think back to when I was a kid, and I had an amazing childhood in a lot of ways. I grew up in a beautiful city, and I had some amazing childhood friends, great times, but I grew up in a place that wasn't familiar with someone that looked like me. And because of the way I looked, people would say that, my skin was dirty and I didn't shower. They would say that, I had a weird sounding name and make fun of my name. Kids would come up to me and hit me and punch me just because I looked different. And if someone would have told me when I was a kid growing up that, hey, Jagmeet, let's imagine it's 10-year-old Jagmeet saying, hey, Jagmeet, in 30 years, you're going to grow up and become a leader of a national party, I would look at you like you were from another planet. It's like, what are you talking about? There's no way. For me to be a leader of a party, that means people would have to like me. Nobody likes me. And the little Jagmeet Singh inside me right now is still in disbelief that we were able to achieve this incredible success and this incredible victory. But I have to say that the achievement was not done without the incredible sacrifice of so many people. I'm only here today because other people broke barriers. Just to give you a couple examples, we have, the first Asian woman from BC, a friend of mine, Jenny Kwan. She became the first city councillor, the first MLA, the first cabinet minister, and the first MP. She broke all these barriers, and her breaking those barriers inspired others. Others like Rosemary Brown, who was the first African-Canadian woman to become elected as a member of parliament. We heard earlier today, people mentioned Mr. Mully, who was elected the first Sikh wearing a turban. We can give him a round of applause for sure. We should give everyone a round of applause. We have in our midst, we just heard from an incredible speech, a pretty phenomenal speech. We have to give a lot of credit to the first South Asian woman that was elected as a member of parliament outside of South Asia. A round of applause to the earlier speak today. We've had an incredible story of a minister who was himself a refugee from a Somali heritage, a refugee who now is the minister responsible for immigration and for refugee matters. That's an incredible feat. It's a Canadian story. Let's give a round of applause to our current immigration minister. But up until this point, we'd never seen someone be in a position to choose who the next minister would be. Someone who can actually make the decisions. And I hope that the position I'm in right now will inspire a whole host of new leaders. Young people, people from equity-seeking communities who never saw themselves reflected in leadership. I hope that being in this position, running to be the next Prime Minister of Canada, will inspire a whole host of new leaders in our country, new leaders who will take the mantle forward and break new barriers and break new ground. I think that's worthy to clap to. My mom taught me a lot of what I believe in, and she taught me a couple of really important things, and I'll finish off with a couple of these quick points. She taught me the idea of Chardi Kala, and I think it's an incredibly powerful concept that, having grown up and faced adversity, faced some difficulty, we're taught it in the Sikh tradition, the Sikh practice, that no matter what you face. I remember when I first learned about Chardi Kala, I thought it meant that, if your day is good and things are going well and someone says, hey, how you doing? You say Chardi Kala. And I was taught really clearly, no, that's not what it's about. Chardi Kala is maintaining a courageous optimism in the face of despair. That even when times look difficult, and often they do, to maintain that fearless, courageous optimism in the face of that. That's Chardi Kala. And that spirit is what guides me. And I want to just end off by saying this space that's created today by the Sikh Awards, I have to acknowledge, and I ask you all to join me in applauding this, there's not a lot of inclusive spaces. And the fact that this space is a vegetarian and non-alcohol space is creating an inclusive space to a lot of people from a lot of traditions that would otherwise not feel as comfortable. It's a very Sikh concept to make sure the space and environment is one that's inclusive to all and welcoming to all. So I ask you to join me in applauding that incredible effort for the Sikh Awards to make a space that's inclusive to all. All right, I'm going to wrap up with this, just a little summary here. So the Sikh Awards is guided by Sikh principles. And I just want to list 3 quick principles and how I think that plays into this award. We know that Ik Omkar is a founding principle, the idea that we are all one, we are all connected, that despite our differences and in spite of those differences, that we are actually very much the same. We're very connected. We share so much in common. And that we must tackle any form of injustice based on gender or identity or race or ethnicity, that we build a world that's more inclusive and just for all. Langar, the concept of free kitchen, is literally a concept of food security. It's a social program that's universal, where rich or poor from any background sit together and enjoy food to ensure that people are able to have access to food as food security. And the principle in the Sikh tradition of challenging the caste system is literally fighting racism and classism to build a society that is just for all. And more than just receiving this award because I'm the first racialized person to be a national leader, our team made a commitment to fight to end poverty and inequality. And I put to you that Langar, fighting the caste system, and the concept of Ik Omkar are commitments to tackle inequality and poverty. They're in fact the foundational principles in the Sikh practice. Our goal is to end inequality, to end poverty, and to end any form of injustice. So the pillar that I launched with, our first pillar was inequality, specifically tackling pay equity, where women still receive only 70% of the pay that men receive for the exact same job. And the idea of tackling poverty, ending poverty in our country. A country as rich as Canada should not have any form of poverty. So I hope that the Sikhs in profession was not only because I happen to be a Sikh, but the principles that we ran on as a team were to eradicate poverty and inequality, principles that I think are very much the hallmarks and foundational elements of being a Sikh. So I'll end with this. I always say that people talk to me about a slogan, and I say the slogan in our campaign was love and courage. And I truly believe if we want to build a better world, it takes love and courage. When we first introduced this idea, people said to us, no one's going to like this idea. Love and courage, you can't talk about love in politics. It doesn't work. And the slogan's not going to be catchy. No one's going to like it. No one's going to share it. It's not going to catch on. It's not going to be viewed by 100 million people. Well, there was a video I'm sure you all watched. And the video was an example of someone trying to disrupt an event based on a hateful approach. And more than anything I did, I think this principle of love and courage is what people were inspired by, people were excited by, that we can combat hate with love. And so I truly believe it takes an act of love to realize we're all in this together, and it takes an act of courage to demand bigger, to dream better, and to build a more inclusive world. Thank you very much.
Jagmeet, congratulations for the victory first of all, and then for this award. Your award is not only achievement for you, it's achievement of the community. What would you like to say today about this award?
Mainu bahut zyada maan hai. I'm really, really honored to receive this. I'm humbled by this. Mainu ਇਹ ਮਹਿਸੂਸ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਜਦੋਂ ਮੈਂ ਛੋਟਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਮੈਂ ਕਦੇ ਸੋਚਿਆ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਪੋਸੀਬਲ ਹੈ। ਮੈਂ ਇਹ ਆਸ ਕਰਦਾ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਮੇਰਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੁਣ ਪੋਜੀਸ਼ਨ ਹੈਗਾ ਆ ਮੈਂ ਹੋਰਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇਨਸਪਾਇਰ ਕਰ ਸਕਦਾ ਕਿ ਸ਼ਾਇਦ ਉਹ ਆਪਣੀ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ 'ਚ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੋਚਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਤਰੱਕੀ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ। ਮੈਂ ਇਹ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ ਆ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ 'ਚ ਅਣਖੀ ਹੋਣ ਤੇ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਧਰਮ ਦੇ ਹੋਣ, ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਬੈਕਗਰਾਉਂਡ ਦੇ ਹੋਣ, ਕਿ ਉਹ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ 'ਚ ਅਣਖੀ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਹੀ ਤਰੱਕੀ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਨੇ। ਮੇਰੀ ਇਹ ਵਾਅਦਾ ਹੈ, ਮੇਰੇ ਇਹ ਆਸ ਆ।